It's Thursday night in the A. You know what that means. Kelly Price and Tori McElhaney is coming at you on Rise Up Tonight, presented by AT&T.
Well, we're trying to channel all the sparkly vibes here at Christmas time with the lovely Christmas trees we have here on our set, because life comes at you fast. And Tori, it feels like just yesterday we were swag surfing through a Kirktober. It was 6-3 for the Falcons. Now they're back at 500 with a tenuous division lead.
Yeah, so what a difference a month makes, right? And here we were supposed to be cheerful this time of year.
I know.
Unfortunately, we're not.
Well, for the second time this season, the Falcons defense did not allow a touchdown. For the second time this season, the Falcons as a team lost such a game. The other one was week 1 against Pittsburgh. Let's huddle up about it, y'all.
Let's huddle up with Kelly and Tori on the world of Falcons football.
So y'all know we love a prop here on Rise Up Tonight, and I brought these here today because, you know what? It feels like it might be time, Tori. We've been on a journey here with these 2024 Dirty Birds,
right.
And where it stands right now, they've only beaten one team with a winning record this season, the Eagles, because in hindsight, they might have even been lucky to beat that team and get them when they did on the schedule.
Right.
Falcons still in the thick of the playoff race, but it feels like their inconsistencies and issues are catching up with them with 5 games to play. Is it time for the panic button?
Okay, so I'm like lightly tapping the panic button because first off, to Kelly's commitment to a bit, we love it. And second off, to answer your question, I would hold off on hitting the panic button just yet. And here's why. I know no one wants to hear it, but Raheem Morris and company saying all this week that everything is still in front of them is true. This is still the team that beat the Bucs twice in October, the team that took the Eagles and the Chiefs to the very end. That team is still in there somewhere. The Falcons need to find a way to tap back into that team. We'll talk about this later in the show, but that tiebreaker they hold over the Bucs right now is huge. So you just got to outlast them. Though I would argue you should want more for yourself than that.
Hey, I'm ready for the panic button. At least it's a fun bit. Heading into the bye week, we were certainly hitting these panic buttons on the Falcons' pass rush, which had amassed just 10 sacks in the first 11 games of the year. On Sunday, they added 5 plus 8 quarterback hits. They were forcing Justin Herbert into uncomfortable situations and passes, and he ultimately only connected on 16 of 23 attempts for 147 yards. No offensive touchdowns, as I mentioned earlier. Our viewers will remember that as a key last week, Tori mentioned that this matchup was important. The Falcons delivered. But as we also talk about inconsistency with this team, can the pass rush do that again is what I need to see to believe.
Yeah, and that's what Raheem Morris talked about post-game when asked about the pass rush. Is what the Falcons did against the Chargers repeatable? I wondered the exact same thing, probably like a lot of you at home are doing right now as well. So I asked Morris point blank, when you looked at that game, the game plan, the execution, what was something that can be repeatable in pass rush? He said the effort the group played with last Sunday, that's repeatable. He said he thought guys played with a quickness and physicality that allowed them more success in one-on-one matchups. At the minimum, they executed. Those are all things that Morris said that he believes is repeatable. But we'll see, right? One performance does not make a whole season's worth of performances if it can't be replicated.
Right, and execution, a big word we heard a lot of people talk about this week in Flowery Branch. So let's talk about it. Speaking of execution, no one will own this loss more than Kirk Cousins. 4 picks, the most he's had in a single game since 2014 and a career high.
Yeah.
Sunday marked the 3rd straight game in which he did not throw a touchdown pass. Worse than that, he's thrown 6 interceptions in that same span. Raheem Morris sticking with his guy at QB1, not surprisingly, and he's not concerned. He said he would only be concerned if he thought Cousins' mistakes would happen again and would be a pattern. But it does look like they've been happening at this point again, Tori, because Cousins looks forward now to what will surely be an emotional return to Minnesota. So can he really kind of have this storybook return that I think Falcons fans want to see?
I think everyone hope so. That's
right.
The goal is, and I do mean everyone. If there was ever a time the Falcons needed Cousins to show up, it's against a thriving Minnesota team. If there was ever a time when Cousins needed to show up for himself, it's after one of the worst performances ever in the place that really established his career. I have said it before and I'll say it again. The Falcons go where Kirk Cousins takes them. So in order to get a win in his old stomping ground this weekend, the Falcons need more than what they've gotten from him the last few times out. He knows that. Coaches know that. Everyone knows that. So go do it. Show us Kirktober Kirk.
Bring Kirktober into December. Well, Tori and I are going to be so real with y'all. We've been searching for a bright spot, like some parents have to get creative finding that elf on the shelf spot this time of year, but I think we found one for this past week. This was our hardest cut down day yet for this segment. So many solid fits this week. We are walking in, presented by Wells Fargo. Let's start out with a statement Louis Vuitton moment from Grady Jarrett. I absolutely adore this jacket, pairing it with the matching LV sneakers. I mean, come on. It is so simply well styled. It's so classic. It is so Grady Jarrett.
Sometimes you have a statement piece that kind of takes over the look in a good way, and that's this jacket.
Yes.
The pattern is so cool. And also a big congrats to Grady on being the Falcons' nomination for Walter Payton Man of the Year. No one more deserving.
So true. All right, we got to give this fit the full film breakdown here with Ray McCloud. There are so many things going on here, but there is one thing that I love the most about a Ray McCloud fit, and it is the accessorization. On Sunday, we get a bandana, a bedazzled tie, a singular glittery glove, a subtle chain belt, a spare unknown jersey draped over his duffel bag, and yet it all works. The sparkle dominant scheme pulled all together with the jeans. Very fancy version of something I kind of owned from the Gap back in like the 5th grade, but the pop of red art on his jacket. I mean, this execution is just high level that we really don't see much on this segment.
Here's the thing. If there's one thing that Ray is going to do, it's be the height of fashion on this team. And I've talked to him about this before. All of his fits, he does all of this himself. He doesn't have a stylist. He curates his own looks, and that honestly makes me love what he's doing even more.
And he told me he kind of does it the day of too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't plan them out. All right, our grand finale, Matthew Judon, ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought that Ray McCloud wouldn't be topped, check this out. Judon giving us like Lenny Kravitz in this all black, iced out, studded leather ensemble. On top of this, he's giving us like the bluest steel imaginable. He knows he ate.
Yeah, no, Kelly, when I saw this pick, I knew he was going to be our grand finale today.
Come on, look at that. All right, still to come. To get in the holiday spirit, Tori and I get our green thumb on with pink and blooms. We're making Christmas wreaths later in the show.
And Matthew Judon laced up a different kind of footwear this week for a good cause, that is. That story is coming up next on Rise Up Tonight.
Rise Up Tonight is presented by AT&T and brought to you by Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. By Mercedes-Benz, the best of nothing. And by Home Depot, how doers get more done. Falcons fans, do you ever wonder what's really on your favorite player's mind? It's time for Question of the Week, brought to you by Zaxby's, famous fingers and sauces.
What is the food you love that everyone else seems to hate?
The food I love, everybody else hates.
Damn.
I don't know. I think everyone eats. I think I eat pretty much what everyone eats.
I guess it's become really popular now, but Brussels sprouts. Big Brussels sprouts guy.
My girl hates Chipotle. She gets sick of it, but I'm like, I'm gonna keep ordering it.
Oh my God, I love Chipotle.
I like raw oysters a lot. Everybody don't really like them like that. I used to not like them, but definitely one of my favorites the past couple of years.
Oatmeal. Huh?
I feel like not a lot of people like sushi. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Big oatmeal guy.
Yeah, you gotta make it right.
That's true. I mean, that's true with a lot of things, though.
People they don't know how to make oatmeal or cream of wheat. People don't know about cream of wheat.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay, that was actually like a whole conversation that me and AJ had about the oatmeal. That took me by surprise.
So shocked that he had a whole demonstration about like, here's oatmeal and here's how I like it.
Right, he felt very passionately about it.
You know, to each their own.
So going into week 13 on Sunday, the Falcons maintained just a 1-game lead over Tampa Bay. The Bucs played the Panthers on Sunday. It was a very close overtime finish, and now they sit even with the Falcons atop the divisional standings. But Atlanta did sweep them earlier this season. They do own postpone that tiebreaker, but that won't matter much if the Bucs win some more and the Falcons kind of continue this 3-game skid. Let's break down both squads' remaining schedules, because Tampa Bay will only face one more team with a winning record, the Chargers, next week. Their final 5-game stretch includes the Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, and Saints.
Yeah, and remember, y'all, they do have the same record as Atlanta right now, right at 500 with 6 wins and 6 losses apiece.
Meanwhile, the Falcons travel to Minnesota, Las Vegas, host the Giants, then go to D.C., and they finish their season with their last division game against the Panthers. And to me, the Raiders and Panthers are actually kind of tricky teams for Atlanta to face here.
I mean, honestly, if the Falcons of the last 3 games show up instead of the October bunch, they will be tricky.
Right. And this is exactly what your notebook on AtlantaFalcons.com this week was about, Tori.
Yes. So in the Falcons' quest to outrun the South, the division is catching up. As Kelly alluded to earlier, though, all is not lost. Those wins over the Bucs in October are going to be huge down the stretch. Why? Because all Atlanta has to do is do what they've said they've needed to do all along, which is outrun the South. They need just one more win than the Bucs to clinch the division. Heck, not even that. They need to just stay on pace with the Bucs by way of wins thanks to that tiebreaker. But all will be lost if the Falcons can't heat back up with 5 games left to play this season.
And as the Falcons look to heat up, Atlanta definitely cooling down. And this week, Matthew Judon took advantage of the temps for his Skate for a Cause event, a fun day that reminded him of his winter days skating on frozen over ponds in Michigan as a kid. As we rise up for Atlanta, brought to you by Truist.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. So.
Skate since he was 15, but he got the hang of it, spending his off day at the Ponce City Market rooftop rink supporting Atlanta Mission. Judon covered the skate fees for community attendees and collected coat donations for Atlanta Mission, the city's largest and longest running provider of services to homeless men, women, and children. And Judon told me no matter where personal stats, team win losses, or any of that is on the season, giving back is always his priority.
I haven't been in Atlanta for that long. Most I came was for a week, and just kind of immersing myself in the community. And then it's kind of getting cold. I didn't even know it got this cold out here, honestly. And so, just giving to the less fortunate, and that's kind of something that I always try to do. Just always try to, keep a helping hand out there for anybody that just kind of needed a little bit of support.
Shout out to Matthew Judon and the whole Falcons defensive front, right? After a lot of outside noise, they showed up and showed out against the Chargers. We're giving out this week's Dirty Bird chain to one of the guys who got after the quarterback on Sunday later in the show.
And like Judon getting into the holiday spirit while ice skating, Kelly and I have a festive guest for you next on Rise Up Tonight as we get our DIY on.
Welcome back to Rise Up Tonight. Let's head in the nest with Kelly, Tori, and this week's special guest, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, as we get into the holiday season and into December, we've got some really fun arts and crafts that we've got here. We've got Valerie of Pink and Bloom Studio, a florist in the area. Before we get into all this loveliness and the holiday cheer that is in front of us, I want to talk about you and starting your small business here in Atlanta. What has that process been like for you?
I started my small business around 2014, and I love being able to do events and to do florals. It's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, so take us through the process of opening kind of your businesses. I know you have like 3 kind of arms of your business as well.
I started working in hotels and in lodging, and then moved to start my own business, One Soul Events. And then from there started Black Girl Florists, which is an organization that supports Black women in floral design, and then moved in to open my own studio, Pink and Bloom Studio, which is a co-work space for florists to use.
That's awesome.
Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of the interconnecting of small businesses and Black Girl Florists specifically, and kind of what that passion project was for you?
Sure thing. So I started my own business, One Soul Events, and I was doing events and then added a floral component to that space. And then I was looking around and I was like, well, where are we? Where are the Black women who are doing florals, and how can I get connected? How can we get connected?
Right.
So in 2020, during the height of the racial tension that was happening in the summer, I started an organization to bring us together. Everyone was supporting Black-owned businesses, and I wanted to have an opportunity for people to find us.
How have you seen that grown, even since then, the 4 years or whatever it's been since then?
Oh my goodness, it's grown exponentially.
That's
I
awesome.
think one of the things I'm most proud of is just how we're connected and how we've been able to work together in this industry, from freelancing together, from learning from one another. It truly has been an opportunity for us to be able to find each other, see each other, and help others support us and to shop Black for flowers.
Something for everyone here at home that they can also create on their own or with you. We're going to create some Christmas wreaths here, so take us through that.
And today we are going to use faux plants. So I have already started one of my wreaths.
Nice.
And this is a 14-inch ring that I am using here. And what I've done is I've created clusters of greenery, then I added them to the wreath, and then we're going to add decorations to it.
Perfect.
So let me show you what I do with the different pieces. So I typically have different furs that I use. These are faux furs, and I just purchased these locally, and I do about 5 or 6 to make it a little bit bigger, but you can make it as fluffy as you like. So I'll just take one and then put the other one on top. I try to make sure they're all a little bit different to create a little bit of texture for the piece.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I stagger them to create a little bit more depth. And then when I get to the bottom here, I just go ahead and tape my little piece together. And so for this 14-inch wreath that I have here, I'll do 5 to 10 pieces together.
Okay.
That is what'll keep it full, nice and full. My wreath has a little scheme going, a little circle this way, so I want to go ahead and place this like this. So I want to go ahead and cover. I've already taped one piece onto the bottom of the wreath, so I'm going to tape this one on top, and then I'll need one more piece to complete the wreath here. And I would recommend highly going ahead and creating all your pieces prior to starting to add them to the wreath. Another thing that I really love to do is take extra pieces and just poke them through. So for example, I'll
hand these to you.
Thank you. And if you see here, my goal is to make sure I don't see any of the ring in the back. So I might just stick that in there.
Nice.
Stick this in here. And maybe stick this one down here.
Perfect. Now should we add some sparkle and do the fun stuff? Not that this hasn't been fun, but I do.
Accent pieces.
I've been eyeing this like little sparkly poinsettia this whole entire time. So look how pretty she is. That's the thing. Is like I'm very excited about this.
Excellent.
So what would be the best placement strategy?
Placement strategy. I love it.
I like to go ahead and put the different flowers together.
Okay.
I like that.
So you can take 2 or 3 pieces, and then we can put them together, and then add some of the small glittery pieces throughout. I'll take my main flower, and I'll either put it right or left. And we're gonna go ahead and put it on the right side. I'm gonna push that down there.
So pretty.
I'm so happy about this.
And so if you notice, I'm not gonna tape or put or secure this one down yet, because I want to make sure that we have our design that we really want it.
There you go.
And then once we kind of place everything, then we'll go ahead and tie it in the back, and we'll be all set.
Great.
I just pick up different pieces and start designing out. I personally love to leave a little greenery on there, but you can cover the whole thing if you like.
Oh, I love that.
So how do we go about securing them?
What I do is I typically set it down on top, and I'll hold it here. And in the back, what I like to do is to make sure that I just tape it down. So I'll put it flat, and then it just stays in place there.
Your Falcons Christmas wreath. You can do this at home just like us, people.
Or if you're like me, who needs a lot of help, get someone else to do it.
The artistic eye is great. Well, thanks so much for helping us out with this. I really appreciate it. How could people maybe find your business, or if they want to work with you and design one of their own?
Excellent. So you can find us at Pink and Blooms, pinkandblooms.com, or Black Girl Florist, and you can find an online listing there where you can support Black women-owned florists throughout the country.
Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Fun times here, and we will be right back on Rise Up Tonight.
Hey Atlanta, this is Head Crack talking, and you watching Rise Up Tonight, presented by AT&T.
Herbert wants to throw here, back up in the pocket, and Atlanta gets to him. Arnold Ebiketie.
That guy right there. 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits on Sunday. Arnold Ebiketie, a big reason why Justin Herbert was so uncomfortable and they were so successful unsuccessful rather, as an offense in that game. And for that, you earn the Dirty Bird chain,
there
my
it
man.
is. Finally, we get to talk about the pass rush in a positive way. Thank God. I was running out of things to say otherwise. And Kelly's right. A lot of the reason why has to do with the effort, pace, and physicality Arnold Ebiketie played with last Sunday. The Falcons will need a lot more of that as this defense hopes to find some consistency moving forward.
And like we said, got to replicate that on Sunday. We'll see what they do Sunday against the Vikings. Big return to Minnesota for Kirk Cousins. We'll wrap it up for you next Thursday night. For now, have a wonderful night.